Now, the real reason why you pull chest voice, you shout, you yell, you strain, because of this very thing that I'm going to show you now. Because if you watch to the end of this video, you'll realize that whether or not you pull chest voice, you shout, you strain, it all depends on this one single thing. And as long as you can't achieve this, you'll forever be pulling chest voice and shouting. But the moment you understand this, and you can apply whatever I demonstrate and I show you today in this video, then you realize that solving a pulled chest voice, solving a shouted voice is really as simple as what I'm about to show you. Hey, it's JJ here, and if this is your first time watching my videos, I help singers like you unlock your high notes fast by showing you exactly how you can access your high, complete, mixed voice vocal placement. And if that sounds like exactly what you need, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button below and let's get started. Now, the reason why you pull chest voice, you sound like you are shouting or you are yelling, is because of two things. Number one, your compression level. Number two, your resonance. What do I mean? So, let me give you a quick example. A singer like Lewis Capaldi, a singer like James Arthur, a lot of the time, people will say that they sound like they are straining. But are they actually straining? They are not straining. Are they actually shouting or yelling or putting chest voice? They are not. Why so? Because for them, they have heavy compression, but their resonance is balanced. Their resonance comes from the high, complete, mixed voice vocal placement, so that you can sound like they are straining, they are squeezing a bit too hard, but it is still safe to a certain extent, because from a physics, from an acoustic point of view, acoustic energy point of view, their resonance is placed at a healthy place. So as a result, it is hard for them to injure themselves. They won't sound like they are shouting or pulling chest voice. But the moment they compress heavily and they allow the resonance to come up from a low placement, then that's when they will start shouting and pulling chest voice, which happens once or twice, but hardly for singers like them, because they are famous and great singers, and they know what they are doing, whether consciously or unconsciously. Now that we get that out of the way, I want to show you what exactly is a pulled chest voice or a shouting or yelling voice. It is when you are compressing too heavily and, like what I've said earlier, you are letting the resonance come up from this low placement. Once you combine those two factors, then you have a pulled chest voice. Let me show you what I mean with a demonstration here. Because I'm going to do a bad demonstration, I'm not going to go too high. I'm just going to go somewhere around F4 so that I don't injure my own voice when I'm demonstrating the bad example. The easiest vowel to pull chest voice is always an open vowel, which is R, as open as it can get. I'm going to do it on an R vowel so that it is more obvious for most people. So a pulled chest voice, which has heavy compression and coming out from a low placement, it will sound like this. Ah! That's what it will sound like. Now, how do I know it's a pulled chest voice? I'm not sure if I said it in one of my YouTube videos, but I always tell my private clients this, that whenever I tell them to practice, don't just practice without a mic, without a headset, without a speaker. Always make a habit to practice with a mic. Why? Because whether or not you're pulling chest voice, I'm pretty sure just now when I put chest voice into the mic, what happened is the mic is being blasted. It sounds like it's blasting. I've got these here, but I don't even need to use them. I can tell you straight up that the mic is blasting. Versus if I'm doing this, I'm still going to compress heavily into it. That means it is not going to sound like a head voice or falsetto. It's going to sound like a mixed voice or a chest voice, whatever you want to call it. Yet, I'm going to keep it at a high placement. Then it will sound a bit more like this. Ah! 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 Heavy chest voice sounding. But guess what? I can tell you that the mic didn't blast. Hopefully it didn't blast. Not hopefully, it definitely didn't blast. I'm confident of that. Now, usually the problem happens because we cannot differentiate between heavy compression and placement, or rather resonance. Why do I say so? Because most of the time, I think I've said this in one of my previous videos, we need to develop independence between compression and our resonance, our compression and our placement. Most people, when they try to compress heavily like what I did just now. Most struggling singers, what you tend to do is this. You associate heavy compression with a low placement. And naturally, the reverse is true. You associate light compression, like a head voice, like a falsetto, with a high placement. Therefore, what happens? Whenever you're going through your range, you're switching placement. Low notes, let's say I'm singing here. High note. If I keep everything the same, even my low notes, I keep it at a high placement. All high placement. So that way, I'm keeping my compression level the same. In the high placement, I'm compressing heavily into the high placement. But like I said, most people, we haven't developed enough independence between compression level and the placement. And that is the reason why we tend to pull chest voice. Because like I said, people like Louis Capaldi, people like James Arthur, they sound like the voice is very powerful, very strong, very chesty, even for their high notes. And yet they're not straining. Why? Because they have learned to compress in the high placement, like what I've shown you just now. Usually when you have too much compression, what happens is you allow the resonance to drop out into a low placement. But if you compress without allowing the resonance to drop out from the mouth, drop out into a low placement, and allowing the acoustic energy to latch onto your low placement, instead, if you can send all the resonance up into your high placement and you compress there, you'll be compressing into your high placement instead. And when you do, as long as it is not too much, you will actually get a chesty sounding full mix. Of course, that's one of the factors. The other factor I've explained before in one of my artist analysis is that your vocal cord, your natural vocal cord thickness, the length of it, are you a baritone, tenor, whatever, is going to affect how chesty, full sounding your mixed voice can be as well. That's another topic for another day. Here we are focusing purely on compressing into the high placement to create that mix that doesn't sound like a falsetto or a head voice. So one of the exercises that you can start doing today is actually the creaky door exercise. Put simply, you go, it sounds a bit like this. So what I'm doing here is, as I'm creaking through my way, as long as there's that creak, you're not supposed to sound nice in this exercise. You're supposed to sound like what it sounds like, a creaky door. The purpose of it is to allow your chords to come together first. Because if you're in your falsetto or your head voice, can you hear the subtle difference? One is a lot of air coming out, the other one I'm holding back the air. I'm creating a very creaky, a very edgy sound. Now, actually I've already revealed to you the secret. That's the key. You can use this edgy sound to find the high complete mixed voice vocal placement, which is what I teach in my complete mixed voice 1.0. If you can do that, then the next thing, everything else becomes logical. You just have to compress at a point where you feel the bite. Because let's try to do it on a vocal exercise now, on a more normalized. We can use the consonant G, because G encourages more chord closure, more compression. And you can use the vowel R, because the vowel R is very easy to put chest voice, so it'll be a very good exercise for the sake of the topic of this video on pulling chest voice. That's why we're going to use the combination Ga. So let's try this out. I'm going to do the creaky door first, and then I'm going to put the Ga in the same placement. Have a look. Ga 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 ga. Same placement. I explode from there. I'm going to go even more slow motion so that you can hear it. Ga 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 ga. Now let's go higher. Ga 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 ga. Ga 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 ga. Ga 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 ga. A for now. Ga 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 ga. A sharp now, or B flat 4. Ga 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 ga. Ga 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 ga. Ga 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 ga. Can you see that it is? I'm going wide open. And I'm not pulling chest voice. How do I know that I'm not pulling chest voice? Did my mic blast? Idiot proof way to see if you're pulling chest voice. Ask yourself, did your mic blast? If it didn't, then you're not pulling chest voice. As long as your mic didn't blast, number one, and you don't sound like you're in a head voice or falsetto, then you're in a good mixed voice. In your high, complete mixed voice vocal placement. Another way to test whether you are in your head voice at a top note or whether you are in your mixed voice like what I'm doing is very simple. Can you connect the top note back down? Here's what I mean. So notice what I'm doing there. I'm going to do it at B4 again. Ga 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 ga. Can you hear that? Ga ga ga. It's connected. It is not doing this. A lot of people when you try this, you will do this. Ga 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 ga. Ga ga ga. Okay, a very loud head voice will sound like this. It is not a mixed voice. Ga 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 ga. Can you hear it? It doesn't connect. Versus ga 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 ga. It connects. It's one uniform sound. Can you hear it? Versus ga ga ga. A lot of you will be doing this. Why? Put simply, you still haven't developed independence between your compression and your placement. Whenever you're in your high placement, guess what? You lose compression. And that's really the key if you want to sing your high, complete, mixed voice placement. Alright? For the sake of completion, I like to be a bit more complete. So I'm going to go up to C5, high C as well. So that the ladies, if just now those notes were too low for you, the ladies, you can have up to C5 as well. I mean, you can go further if you want to, but I'm just going to demonstrate up to C5. Same thing, I use the quickie door to find the high placement first. And I compress right into it without dropping back into a low placement. Have a listen. Ga 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 ga. Can you hear that? It's all connected. Ga 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 ga. C5, high C. There are 2 points why I want to show you this. Number one, some of you think that if I don't demonstrate for a lot of my past videos, whenever I'm teaching, I'm in the teaching mode, I don't usually demonstrate unless you're my private client and we're working on one-to-one lesson. But a lot of people, they think this way. They think that as long as I demonstrate, you'll be able to get it. Now, it might be true, it might not be true. That's why I'm trying something new today. I'm demonstrating today to see if I demonstrate, can you actually follow? Can you actually understand what I'm doing here? Because here's something I always believe in. The reason a lot of times why I don't demonstrate is because, look, if demonstration really helps, if demonstration is really everything, don't get me wrong, demonstration is important, but if demonstration is really everything, then why are you even watching this video? Why not go and watch James Arthur, Luis Capaldi, Bruno Mars, Shawn Mendes, Harry Styles, Niall Horan? Watch all those great singers. Ariana Grande, Whitney Houston, Olivia Rodrigo, Lady Gaga, Demi Lovato. They are demonstrating it so much better than me. If demonstration really works, go and listen to them. You understand what I'm saying here? So a lot of times, I like to explain the concept behind it. Because a lot of times, the truth about singing is this. People think that singing doesn't require a brain. It's true. It's true to a certain extent if you have been singing since young and it's intuitive for you. But as long as you're a struggling singer, you don't have those high notes, you want to learn how to sing. Most of the time, unless you work what's up here first, forget about working on what's here. I believe you have to understand things conceptually first. And a lot of times, as long as you can understand things conceptually, the doing part comes naturally. So you can say things, I don't demonstrate. Comment down below. Now that I demonstrated to you, Can you follow? Some of you can, because I know demonstration it helps. That's why for my private clients I demonstrate to them. But you realize a lot of times, even when you watch other vocal coaches, they demonstrate, but can you follow? The same idea. That's why I say last time when I was a beginner, I used to have this mindset where, oh, can he do this? Can she do this? She's not showing me how to do it, therefore he or she can't do it. Guess what? That's complete nonsense. Comment down below if you've ever felt this way. You watch a singer and you just think, oh, this singer can't sing that high, therefore he's not a good singer. But what you don't realize is, as a true professional, for me, when I listen to a singer sing, the singer don't even need to sing those high notes. I can listen to a singer speak just by talking, just by singing the low notes. I can tell whether a singer is going to be able to sing those high notes. Why? Because just by your speaking voice, I can tell if you're in your high placement or your low placement. If your speaking voice is in your low placement, your low notes, your mid-range notes are in all your low placement, your high notes is a bye-bye, it's impossible. But as long as your speaking voice is in a high placement, not 100% of the time, but 90% of the time, I can tell you, going up high to C5 is not a problem for you. I mean guys, girls will be E5, F5 equivalent for guys and girls. So now, after the demonstration, I know I explained halfway just now, but I didn't get into the full explanation. I want to deliver extra value here. So for those of you who have watched up to this point, I'm going to explain further why the cookie door exercise works. So listen up, here's the reason why. When you're doing this, by the way, I'm not going to go so high so that you all can follow along. I think this note is manageable for most people, or if you struggle, you will struggle at this note. F4 for guys. Girls you can do up here at G4, but for guys, the reason why the cookie door works is because when you're doing the cookie door, your mouth is not opened. So what does it mean? It means that it is harder to put chest voice. Because remember why? I said in the beginning just now, R vowel is the easiest vowel, one of the easiest to pull chest voice. Why? Because it's wide fucking open. And then when it's wide fucking open, those of you who are stuck in your low placement, you allow all your energy, all your resonance to get shoved up here, agitate your low placement. But now I close your mouth. You close your mouth. Can you feel that whenever you're creaking, you feel it very high up here? The creak doesn't happen here, the creak happens up here. That's a high placement. That's the secret. That's a high placement. Most of you can really feel it. Now, the next step is just to compress into it, because now when your mouth is closed, the acoustic energy cannot be shoved up here. It has to go behind. Because the truth is this: just now when I open my mouth wide open, I'm doing ga. Most of you, the hum, the creak, you can do it. But opening up to a R, to a white vowel, by itself is a skill that needs to be mastered. But that can only be mastered once your high placement has been strengthened. And you have to find a high placement first, because most people, they can't even find a high placement with respect to this mouth closing thing. And that is why in one of my older video, but a fucking popular video, right, that I did on how to find your mixed voice the permanent way. What did I say? I said we do slides with our mouth closed. Why? Because when your mouth is closed, your energy goes up. It doesn't come up from here. So that's the very, very first step. I've gone through a lot of things here. Things that I normally only show to my private clients. In my course, I show you way more things. This is a lot of things, but I can tell you that it's only a tiny fraction of whatever you have to know in order to master this high complete mixed voice vocal placement. I'm just scratching the surface, even though it is a lot of things that's being covered. So to sum it all up, the real reason why you pull chest voice, why you shout, why you yell, why you sound like you're straining is because too much compression, number one. Number two, in your low placement. As long as you can remove the low placement, you're keeping your high placement, then you can vary any compression level and you wouldn't be pulling chest voice. It's fucking amazing. The high complete mixed voice vocal placement. And if you want to find out exactly how you can access it, by the way, this video is quite advanced, okay? So if you've been following my work for quite a while now, you might have understand some of what I'm saying today. But if you're more new to it, and even if you're advanced, but you still have trouble singing your high notes, go ahead, follow the link in the description box below and figure out how you can unlock and access your high complete mixed voice vocal placement. And if you love this video, then go ahead and like it and subscribe for more fucking awesome videos like this coming your way. And I'll see you in another video.